account management for a website. It's more than just hosting. Websites are no different than air conditioning systems. They require maintenance, security, updates. In fact, with the amount of fraud that takes place online, if you have a website that does not have the security lock on it, the impacts of your website getting to page 1 of Google are high. Google penalizes websites that are not secure. And let me see if I can show you. When you visit any website, in the very top right-hand corner or top left corner, you're going to see this little icon that's a lock right here. And it's going to say connection is secure. Or it's going to have an exclamation point and it's going to say connection is not secure. The other way to look is if you have a domain that doesn't have HTTPS. You guys do me a favor, take, let's say 3 minutes and go and try and find a website that is not secure. It's missing HTTPS or it's missing the lock symbol that says it's secure. Any website other than scrupulous ones I can't show in a recording. And just a hint, if Google penalizes sites for being insecure, then the insecure ones might not be on page 1 of Google. All right, I got my first one. I'm gonna paste it in the chat. When you get your first one, drop it in the chat. Ezekiel, you beat me. Cody, perfect. Perfect. Yep, 21 Celsius, nice. Good job, Kurt. Chris, thank you for joining. Everybody is on a quick break. They are finding a website, an HVAC site that is insecure and posting them in the chat at the moment. Feel free to pick any one of them, Chris, that you want to run through. So we were just talking about website maintenance and security, and I was explaining that sometimes the dealers are getting bad advice. For example, the panelist at an HVAC event that told the dealers if they're not taking credit cards on their website, they don't need a secure site.
That's silly.
So you guys, I'd like to introduce Chris, and I'm gonna stop sharing and give him the screen. Thanks for finding all of these insecure websites. And I'm gonna let him do his thing and talk to you a little bit about what going to an insecure website can mean for you as the consumer and why the dealers should be concerned whether they own or whether they're taking credit cards online or not. Let me stop sharing.
Yeah, so liability practices, I'm actually funny, so my screen isn't sharing yet. All right, there we go, I've got a good screen share going on. This is actually one of the most popular frameworks out there for running websites is WordPress. And unfortunately, as you get more popular, you become a little bit more of a target. And so these guys at WP Scan created a tool that a lot of black hat folks use. It can be ran in containers, which means fully virtualized and completely automated attacks against target WordPress sites. And so these kind of things exist, and they exist because they're not trying to attack your website. Attacking their website, attacking you directly doesn't do anything for them. What they do is they launch these things called exploit toolkits. So one of my favorites that I've seen is Fragus exploit toolkit. And what this does is it keeps track, it's a little admin panel that they install onto your server that lets them know how many of your customers' computers that they've captured. Let me see if I can't get a bigger view on this, because they want the popularity of your website. They're not trying to attack you, they're trying to get your website's visitors. Open image in new tab. And so, as you can see here, you can see how many Internet Explorer, they call them frags, how many frags have gotten from Internet Explorer, Opera, Safari, and so on. And what a frag is basically a machine that was taken over. So they get instructed, your website's visitors, once infected, get instructed to join a CNC, so zombie CNC, so a command and control, botnet command and control. So botnet is a network of these little zombies that have been infected by servers like yours who don't run HTTPS, contributing to part of the problem, which is why Google's actually showing major preference in folks that do have secure websites. Is you're not contributing to the spread of what you call botnets, these armies. They say that 1 in 2 computers are infected with it, and 2 out of 3 phones are part of a botnet that are sitting in these command and control stations waiting to get commands from hackers.
Explain what a man-in-the-middle attack with a keylogger would do on a website that's insecure. So HVAC guy has a website built by his little brother or his cousin or his nephew who just graduated, or some guy bought off Fiverr for $10 to build his website, and it's insecure, the server's insecure, site's insecure, and they install man-in-the-middle system.
So
keyloggers are cool.
Keyloggers are cool.
So basically, by the time this bot has joined the CNC, it already has a keylogger installed by this time. It's part of the exploit framework. What happens with exploits is the browser with a certain version, and why it's called an exploit framework is really interesting. It has a composer in the middle, an orchestrator, who literally, it's a database of exploits where the remote code, the browser is fingerprinted. All browsers have a fingerprint. Let's call that the, what do they call that? The user agent. What is my user agent? So even Google knows, and every website knows, because it's part of the web request, exactly what kind of browser I'm using, exactly what version of Windows I'm using, and exactly, so the exploit, great. Now the exploit knows exactly what it needs to attack. So the way the exploit framework works is it finds the exact database, and then you go look up an exploit DB database of some sort. Exploit DB is probably one of my favorite, but there's quite a few different exploit databases out there, including ones that are controlled by GitHub, so you can programmatically access them. Hosted by Microsoft now that they paid like billions of dollars for it. So the exploit database, basically a list of exploits. These are also how your WordPress is vulnerable as well. So if you type in WordPress, what you'll realize here, and this is very important about keeping your stuff up to date, because if you're using living, breathing software that is updated, it's going to have security issues at some point or another. As you can see, exploit database had one for auto optimize plugin that came out, and it was released by that team. And there's private repositories with way more exploits than what's public that you get access to on the dark web. But it tells you exactly how to release the proof of concept. In this example, POC is a proof of concept. This is exactly how the hacker would gain access to the website and exactly how to launch it against them, to be able to produce a shell, which is a command station on your server.
So the English version is, you go visit a website that's insecure. They have a man-in-the-middle attack system, which is basically a program that automatically executes and downloads onto your computer. And that program downloaded onto your computer is tracking you when you leave that HVAC, that insecure HVAC site. It's tracking you logging into your Bank of America account with your login, your password, and every ounce of information. And that information is then sold on the dark web for manage of a couple of bucks a pop.
Yeah, man-in-the-middle attack is definitely used for keylogging. It's for, and how you do it, there's 2 different ways. They're both called poisoning methods, DNS poisoning. And that's why having a good registrar and a good content delivery network and everything. So DNS poisoning or DNS spoofing, this is more typical and you'll see in industries like banking, where they actually host a fake website, and it's a phishing website, but they deliver the phishing website through DNS spoofing. The other one is if you're at a hotspot, if anybody's at a hotspot on Another example of man-in-the-middle attack is ARP spoofing. And ARP spoofing is the same thing. It's a way of performing a man-in-the-middle attack by broadcasting that you are on the network and you are part of the network. Typically, what will happen on this, if you have SSL, the person performing an attack will get an error unless they have access to the server that provided the SSL certificate and have what's known as the private key.
So, okay. Now that everyone needs to take 4 aspirin and a shot.
Second that notion.
And he didn't even go into anything else yet. Chris, feel free to show real quick before we pause on the security piece, how much their data is worth and how that's sold. And you guys,
here, I'm gonna go off screen for half of a second on this one.
We're not that expensive.
Yeah, if you think about your value of what do you think your value is? Out of curiosity, and if you want to, anybody can use the chat and throw it in. What do you think that your information, your full family, everyone in your family's social security number,
birthday,
all of your logins to your PayPal, your online bank, everything that you have access to, basically your full family's identity in a package on the dark web. This is called Fulls, Fullz. What do you think that package is worth per person, or rather per family?
500 to 1,000.
500 to 1,000. Kurt?
Don't do it, Chris.
I'd say
I want to see a couple guesses coming in while I'm looking for my old Facebook post.
I'd say a couple thousand.
Couple thousand.
$5.
Christine, what you think?
I don't know. Obviously worth it. It depends. Is it a volume thing or is it a margin thing?
Good
I don't know
question.
that much about it.
Yeah, everything for value, in my humble opinion, when establishing value, is all about supply and demand. It's how much is out there versus how much people want to use it.
Taylor says $20. Cody,
I got the numbers up whenever.
Social Security is a little bit more expensive.
a little more, $19.99 per person.
Okay, so
On sale.
I'm gonna pull up this is my my chat on the dark web in an underground IRC channel, which is not the typical browser. Open image in new tab. Let me kind of zoom into this. So this guy Ands is selling Bank of America, Wells Fargo, blah 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 Fulls. And so my name on here is Ring Zero. It was at 2:23 in the morning. I asked cost. He said, what Fulls? Just wondering why they go for these days. UK, US, EU Fulls. I sell for 13 each. PayPal and AOL Fulls. And so it was just kind of a demonstration on where these things are traded and the fact that your whole family's information is worth $13.
So when you hear somebody talk about security, or if you want to have a conversation with the dealer, you want to start a conversation, you want to recruit a new dealer, looking at what you guys just found, you guys all just found an entire list of insecure websites. The risk to consumers of them being a botnet, a Trojan that is contributing to the massive supply of available information is huge. And as this is twofold. One, they're preventing their own business from being successful, not properly managing their website, securing their site, hosting their site properly, keeping it updated. If they're working on old school technology, the longer a piece of technology exists, the more hacks and so forth that are out there being shared through the internet. So the more vulnerable the site is. If your website is technically your digital store in today's environment, that's your home base. That's your business online. It's your customer service department. It's your retail store. It's your training store. It does everything for you. The last thing you want to do is leave that thing unmanned, insecure, with bars on the doors and hurting the customers walking through it. There's literally a sign out that says, don't come into this website. It is insecure. So sometimes we'll have conversations with dealers and they're like, I don't think I need a new website. Or GoDaddy hosting is only $10 a month. Or I got my website for free on Wix. It's insecure on an insecure service with no maintenance. And technically they're destroying all opportunities of their own business and contributing to a worldwide network of insecure websites that are making the supply of personal data being sold on the dark web so high that your personal value is only 13 bucks a pop. Ugh, right? So if anything right now, you're gonna go update when you get off this class, you're gonna go update all your logins and passwords to not your puppy's name in 123. You're going to create a better process for logging in and out of things and updating and changing those passwords. And again, your reticular activator is on. You're gonna be looking at websites from a security standpoint. Any dealer you come in contact with, technically, you should be contacting us, put them in an evaluation where we go look at the security of their site. We go look at the Google rankings of their website. We look at their digital network. We find out if their information is accurate on all of their local directories. We check all of those things we've covered so far to make sure that they haven't compromised themselves. They're not burning through cash for marketing and advertising and then hurting themselves on the other end, and they're not hurting anyone else. So sometimes it's not just about growth. These things have to be checked on an annual basis. It's not something you can just put in place and call it a day. That's why your phones and your computers and devices require replacement. That's why they require updating, is because technology is advancing extremely quick on the good side and the bad side. And we've got to make sure we're on top of that.